Hi,
I
host
just got
Eric
mine on
here
personality
with
check.
host Ken with Light Bulb and Nicky TP385 in the his house, as they say in the hip hop culture. Now, we're going to be talking about tri-type 521. 521, the mentor. That's in any order. Could be a 125, could be a 215, could be a 512, could be a 521. Could be a 215, could be a 251. Okay, regardless, it is referred to as the mentor because of the following tri-type conditionalities. The 2 is the helpful type. So that one is going to manifest as exercising one's nature upon others to make their lives better as a means of establishing your own self-worth and self-esteem. And it's going to be somewhere in the mix of your splay of those three numbers. If it's at the top of it, you're going to be more on the helpful side, and it's at the bottom, you're going to be less on the helpful side. Now, the other two numbers are both kind of perfectionistic, details-oriented numbers, 1 and 5. 1 is about being perfectionistic about that which has already been decided, keeping everything in proper order, and making sure that one stays clean and avoids everything. Like keeping one, dotting one, all the I's and crossing the T's. Those are matters that have already been decided. Whereas the 5 is about being deliberative, being concerned with making the right choice and knowing in advance all the potentialities that of the system and all the elements of the system so that they can avoid uncertainty. So both those things are very detail oriented, which is why this web page that I linked to up here indicates that they are uh, triple details. And the second, the 2 being people details, details about people and about how to be helpful to specific people. So the light bulb here is that tri-type. She is, at least for the moment, uh, she feels a little bit uncertain about some of these things. Seems to not like to be pinned down or hemmed in by the choices. Lightbulb, do you identify with what I said so far about the mentor tri-type?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I do have a little rebellion too, because I don't know. I think this is still dependent on what mood you're in.
Okay. I would tend to agree. There are some times when I'm very not 8, and I'm not likely to express 8 at all. And there are other times when I'm very 8, and I'm likely to express 8 for no good reason. So, which mood I'm in is going to have a lot to do with that. But I know as well that most of the other people in my life are much less volatile than me and much less moody than I am. So, I don't
Yeah,
know. Most people display pretty consistently over time.
yeah. So I'm not shutting this down. I guess I just have like a raised eyebrow for a little while.
Sure. Uh,
Um,
Go ahead.
how does one decide what order the numbers go in?
Well, with you, the one that you answered most decisively on, I figured was the first one. The one that you answered second most decisively on was the second, and the one that gave you the most trouble, I figured, was the third. And that was how it is
Do
for
you,
me. The 7 seems obvious. The 8 is seems appropriate. The 3, I go back and forth between 4 and 3 when I think about it a little bit, even now, except not so much now, but you know, I've been a 4 my whole life until the last couple of years. I
do
think
you
they
remember
move.
what order I answered them in?
You answered them according to my read of it. You are a 5-2-1
521.
in that order. So because you had the most trouble answering the conflict question, you felt as though you were any number of those three. In my understanding of tri-type, which is not consistent with the official understanding of it, the second two numbers can change over the course of your life. Only the first number stays the same throughout your life. I think I'll always be a 7. I wasn't always an 8 exactly. I think there was a time when I was kind of a 1, more out of a general self protection interest kind of a thing. And then I know I was much more of a 4 when I was younger. I just wanted to rebel against everything. So I do think those second two numbers do change, and the first two numbers generally, I mean, the first number generally does not. Ken or anybody else have any thoughts on this tri-type called the Mentor?
Um, Supposedly Trey Pierce from MBTV is of the same tri-type.
Okay.
So I think he actually made a video on it. As far as personal plots, I don't know. I sometimes struggle understanding 2s and to some extent 5s. The 1 I sort of get, but those other 2, I don't know.
I think INFJs are likely to correlate with 521 because 1 is very NI and also FI maybe a little bit. Now, but I think of 5 as being very TI and 2 as being very FE. So, 1, 2, and 5 means NI, FE, and TI, namely your first 3 cognitive functions of the INFJ.
Yeah, I read the description that Ken sent, and it says, use their knowledge and expertise in the benefit of others, typically attracted to humanitarian causes, altruistic, generous than the other 5s, also more social, involved in controlling, want to help other people, usually do it by teaching them how to help themselves. That's like the most just personal to me is teach you how to do it so I don't have to help you anymore, or launch you onto something else. They can make good teachers, I don't know, maybe, have trouble acknowledging their own problems. Well, that would be just not, I think, trouble identifying FI, and needs and tend to protect their inner world by focusing on others. Yeah. But like 512, also, that one says precise, ethical, thorough, disciplined. Yeah, but I think the older I get, the less thorough I am, the less disciplined, because I don't feel the need to be, like maybe a 512 would be a little less secure and need a more stable environment, so they focus on being precise and thorough and disciplined. And then as that stuff settles, maybe they would move into like a 521 where they can then focus on bigger things like the humanitarian type of thing.
Good point. I think obviously the 2 is going to determine how warm one of these individuals displays. And if the 2 is in the 3rd slot, then they're not going to display nearly as warmly as that description would seem to suggest. Just as I think if you were to look at the 3, the achiever, I think most people would say, well, Eric, you don't exhibit a lot of those traits in general. And I'd say you're right, because it's in my 3rd slot. So I think the 3rd slot one is going to be, whichever one is in the 3rd slot, that's going to determine most of all how you display. Like you're not going to display much of that aspect of it. Hello, Taylor. And that will. Is there anybody else? Hi, Jordan. Anybody else have any thoughts on this tri-type, the 521, 125, 251? Okay, well then, thank you for watching, and don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.